Good evening, my dear friends. Good evening to folks in India, and good morning to folks in the US or Canada, and then good afternoon to folks in Europe. So welcome to the session 6 of our Living in Coherence master course. I know quite a few have been very steadfast, been attending, joining these sessions live for the last 6 Saturdays. And today is the last Saturday of this course. However, the recordings of each of these are available on YouTube. So you should be able to look up those sessions anytime you want. So today we're going to cover the topic of conscious creation. So before that, I want to quickly do a recap of what we've covered in the last several weeks. Let me see if we have it live. Okay. So we started off talking about consciousness. What is consciousness? Why consciousness matters? And consciousness has those 6 qualities of perfection, love, bliss, abundance, and a couple of others, right? So we talked about that. And then the reason we are not able to be fully conscious of our consciousness was because of the clouds that cloud our consciousness. What are the clouds that cloud our consciousness? They are our thoughts and emotions. Our thoughts and emotions have a direct bearing on our energy level, and depending on our energy level, our consciousness varies. For example, when your energy is very low, when you are sick, when you are angry, when you are emotional, then obviously you're not fully conscious of your consciousness and fully conscious of what needs to be done. Similarly, when you are in a joyful mode, when you have achieved something, you're in a different state of consciousness. When you've been through some rituals, when you've been through some meditative practices where your mind calms down, then you are absolutely clear. You feel the sense of clarity, sense of joy, sense of bliss of your consciousness. So we looked at what is consciousness and why consciousness matters, and what is the purpose of consciousness. And then in the next class, we looked at different models of consciousness. We looked at models of consciousness from the brain perspective. There is a conscious brain, there's a conscious part of the brain, there is a subconscious part of the brain, and there's an unconscious part of the brain. And similarly, from a mind perspective, we looked at conscious mind, subconscious mind, superconscious mind. And we looked at several models of consciousness from the perspective of life, the perspective of neuroscience, and from a yogic perspective as well. And we talked about what Chitta Vritti Nirodha means, right, from a mind and Chitta perspective. And then the next week, we looked at several techniques for elevating or altering our consciousness. We mentioned close to 50 odd techniques during that session, though we covered few techniques in each part of it. We looked at mindfulness, we looked at meditation, we looked at breath work, we did some practices, we did some mind work as well. So there are 2 types of techniques. One is energy-based technique like meditation, like mindfulness, like breath work. And there is mind-based techniques or psychology-based techniques, which is basically doing some assessments, asking the right questions so that you get the right answers, you get in the right state of clarity. Clarity means a different state of consciousness. And then we looked at the coherence, how to maintain coherence between body and mind. We went through specific exercises like Ho'oponopono and stepping into your shoes kind of meditation. And last week, we looked at the dynamics of ego and soul. And let me share this. So our whole premise all along from the first session was, our quest was to move from ego consciousness to soul consciousness, right? And then last week we covered pretty deep into ego and soul and why ego is needed. The soul creates ego, right? And then we looked at we are energy. And the important factor for emotional well-being is our energetic coherence. That's what we looked at last week. Your energy should be your physical body, your physical energies, and your energy from your emotional body should be coherent. And similarly, your emotional body and your mental body, which is your thoughts, should be coherent, should be aligned. What is coherence? Coherence is basically aligned. And that is where we said the way you will get into emotional coherence is when you are living in alignment with the motivations of your soul. Soul has some desires when it incarnates here, and we need to be aligned with that. That is when you get a sense of fulfillment. And then we looked at the 7 stages of psychological development, which increases as we go through our life in this world, right? I mean, the bottom 3 are pretty much during our childhood, surviving. The body or the ego needs to be able to be taken care of well. So it needs to be felt that it survives. It has all the needs met from a sense of food, from a sense of someone taking care of you. And then the second stage was conforming, which is pretty much where you feel accepted by your family, right? So you feel recognized by your family. So that is where relationships start building. And any issues with building relationships, building connections at that stage has a bearing on your emotional development during stage 6. Then similarly, stage 3 was differentiating. So surviving was 0 to 2 years, conforming was 3 to 7 years, and then differentiating was 8 to 24 years, I think. So differentiating was pretty much that, where you start becoming an individual, you start exploring your talents, you start expressing yourself, right? There, the expectation is the ego needs that you be recognized by your community, right? So people accept you as whatever you are. I mean, you're good at something, right? You are good at singing, you're good at study, you're good at sports, whatever it is. That is very important for the ego to go past the stages of development. And stage 4 is critical. That is when we let go of our parental and cultural conditioning and start looking at who am I, what am I here for? So what should I want? What do I want to become? So that is the stage 4. That is where the shift from ego consciousness to soul consciousness start happening. And 5, 6, and 7 are parallels of 1, 2, 3 in the sense that they're all related to the soul. Stage 5 is becoming fully who you are by finding a sense of purpose. A lot of us, that happens after age 45, right? So the stage 5 is between 40 and 50, and similarly beyond. So that is when, okay, we've taken care of whatever we need. I've done my job, I've been doing my job, but I feel a sense of dissatisfaction what I'm doing. That means that is an invitation for you to discover who you are. That's an invitation for you to discover your purpose, right? So then you figure out, okay, what is my calling? What is it? And then there's no straightforward answer to finding your purpose, right? And then we have to keep doing things and then figuring out, oh, this is where I feel a sense of fulfillment. Here is where I still have my ego conditioning working. So that's self-actualizing. And then once I know what I'm supposed to do, then I want to start connecting deeply with others. That is what is stage 6, integrating, right? You have a share, you start building broader partnerships. You start talking to a variety of people, right? You go start connecting to different people in the community and society. And then stage 7 is where you start giving back, you start serving, you start fulfilling your destiny so that you make a difference in the world. That's what the soul desires. So any issues at the bottom 3 stages from our childhood to the time that we are 24 causes emotional blocks, which impact us during the later stages of the life. That was the key thing from our last week's class. And then we also saw the entire cycle of how emotions and feelings get generated, right? So here is the emotion loop. Emotion is nothing but energy in motion, right? Everything is energy. So anything that we get through the 6 senses, the 5 senses plus thought or mind, it causes a sensation or a vibration in a part of the body. And then because any sound that you hear, any thought that you get, any taste that you see, any visual that you see, everything has an equivalent sensations in some part of your body. And then the mind jumps in and interprets it and says that, oh, that is the sound of something, right? You hear a voice, you hear a sound, and then the mind says, oh, that is a dog barking. So it attaches a meaning to it. And similarly, so you see some person and immediately mind interprets and say, oh, that is a person who did not like you in your past job. So the mind gives you that perception, and immediately what happens, there is a feeling tone. There is a pleasant feeling or an unpleasant feeling. Buddha calls it as feeling tone in Buddhism. So you either have a pleasant, unpleasant, or a neutral feel. And then it gives rise to emotion. And we said there are 6 basic types of emotion, right? And the most important being fear and anger, right? Similarly, the soul's related emotion was bliss and fulfillment, right? So fear and anger are the primary emotions, and then sadness again as well. So sadness is another emotion more because your soul is not feeling fulfilled. So once we have that basic emotion, then there is a feeling that's generated, right? Fear could manifest into I'm terrified. There is a different levels of fear again, right? I'm terrified about something, right? I am worried about something. So worry is a feeling. Anxiety is another feeling. But the bottom emotion, the basic emotion driving that feeling is fear. Similarly, anger, right? Anger is a basic emotion, but examples of feeling are things like frustration, right? And then discomfort. So all those are labeled feeling. And then that in turn translates into behavior, and that's a continuous loop. And Buddha, we also saw that last time. So Buddha in his Anapanasati Suttas, he said the way you address getting into better emotions and feelings is by observing your sensations. And the way you do it is be with your breath. As you continue to breathe in and breathe out, breathe in and breathe out, you slowly start becoming aware of your breathing, becoming aware of your body sensations, becoming aware of your feelings, becoming aware of your thoughts and emotions. Right? That is the whole point. And we also saw negative emotions cause incoherence. Right? Negative energy of fear and anger stay in your energy field, causing energetic instability. And the reason for negative emotions are 3 things. Number 1 is limiting beliefs. Number 2 is repressed emotions, where you're not expressed your emotions. And number 3 is when your mind is not able to make sense of some behavior or some emotion, right? And greater the intensity of negative emotions, fear or anger or sadness, the greater the intensity of it, the greater is energy stability. And the way you come out of energetic incoherence is 2 things. You become consciously aware of it, you become mindful of it, and you bring that particular feeling into consciousness, and slowly it gets dissolved. And that is how repressed feelings also need to be brought up. And the second one is making meaning, right? So when I say repressed feeling, for example, if you're angry at some person or some situation, we may not be able to express our anger at that point of time because of societal and family limitations and cultural conditioning, right? There are discipline, there are rules everywhere, but we might be frustrated inside. But at some point, we need to let it go. The way to let it go is attach a meaning. Oh, my parents could not do that. Let's say I'm angry because probably during some point in my childhood, my parents did not take care of me well. I have a feeling that my parents did not take care of me well, and that has caused me some anger. Now, I bring that incident into conscious awareness and attach a meaning to it. Oh, they were not able to do that. They did not take care of me because they were not able to do that in that situation, right? To the best of the extent they were able to take. So now there's a meaning, and then that whole block releases. You either bring that emotion into conscious awareness and then leave it, or you attach a meaning to it, and then that whole block gets clear, right? And when you say meaning making is all about alignment. Your ego's needs and your soul's desires need to be aligned and they need to be met, right? And ultimately, this is what we're going to look at today. When we can satisfy the soul's desires for self-expression, connection, and contribution, the soul feels a sense of fulfillment and the ego feels a sense of meaning. So meaning making is the very fact that you're not able to make meaning. Anytime you feel, why do I exist? Why am I not important? Right? So that is the beginning of your emotional turbulence. The moment you feel that you are making meaning, your ego starts feeling confident. You become feeling confident. And then you start expressing yourself. The reason I spent the whole class last week talking about ego and soul dynamics is basically that. You need to fulfill your ego's needs before you can realize your soul's desires and soul's purpose. Without that, there can be a jump of consciousness, but there is this ego's needs waiting to be fulfilled. At some point of time, you might get regressed into anger. That is why you might probably see some very people who are elevated in consciousness sometimes go to the depths of depths of fear, depths of anger. They go down the path of incoherence, right? So with that, so that is the background. We talked about consciousness, models of consciousness, techniques for elevating our consciousness, the gap between the body and mind, the gap between the mind and soul, and how do we align those. Now today, we want to talk about what is the use of all that. We know what is consciousness. I know how to move my consciousness into a higher level. I know the different stages of consciousness. Now, why is it important that my body, mind, and soul need to be aligned, need to be coherent? That is because that is the way we consciously create our reality. Patriji says, in fact, I got attracted to Patriji and Pyramid Spiritual Society's movement because of this one statement. You create your own reality. So we all come from different backgrounds, right? In our childhood, we always let our reality, we left the reality to someone, some patriarch or some big person in the family, or it could be an external God, right? We said, okay, it's ultimately whatever God gives and things like that, right? But here was a statement that said, you create your own reality. And then there are a lot of other neuroscientists, a lot of other quantum physicists started talking about the same thing. So you create your own reality is very true. And there are different dimensions to reality, which is what we'll cover today, right? And there's one wonderful book that talks about this. So what is it? There are 4 things, which is called the square of life. There are 4 things we're always concerned with. And when we say you create your reality, our reality is comprised of this 4. This 4, our reality is like the square, boundary within the square, right? So health, wealth, love or relationships, and self-expression. That is why it is very significant that we talked a lot about self-expression last time. Without you expressing yourself, expressing your talents, expressing what you're good at, you cannot be happy. These are the 4 things that are essential, need to be aligned for you to be happy. You have to have sufficient wealth, good health, and sufficiently good relationships, which is what is the love boundary talks about, right? And you create each of these. You can create each of these through your thoughts and emotions. There are 3 ways we create. We either create our reality through our thoughts and emotions. We create a reality through intentions, and we can create a reality through intuition. So we'll talk about those 3 and then dive into meditation. And this was something that we covered from day 1, right? In terms of our consciousness, each of us have intelligence in us. Our body has intelligence, our mind has intelligence, our soul has intelligence. And being coherent is making sure we're aligned with that intelligence instead of being distracted, instead of being drawn away by our pre-programmed beliefs, limiting beliefs. Oh, I can't do that. I don't have money. I don't have enough. I am not good enough. So they're all limiting beliefs. They're all wrong. So each one of us are intelligent. Each one of us have the intelligence needed to express our soul purpose and live our entire soul journey on this earth planet. So let's look at conscious creation through thoughts and feelings. So some of it we may have covered in some of the earlier sessions. So in session 4 or 5, so we covered this, or I think even in session 3, the models of consciousness. So our entire body is an energy field, right? And then we said thoughts are electric and feelings are magnetic, right? And there are neurochemicals flowing across our body, which gives rise to the way we feel. So anytime you have a thought, the neurons in your brain fire, they're electrical impulses, right? And then when the electricity flows, your every cell, when the electric pulses send out those neurochemicals through, every cell resonates at some frequency, which is more magnetic. So, and then every cell has a sense of light as well. There are photons. So if you look at it, our body cells are photo-electromagnetic fields. And according to some books like Mind to Matter, Dawson Church says, we have a field, we have an energy field that surrounds us around 3 meters around our body. So, and he's done several experiments. So if you hold a glass of water, the energy that the glass of water has will be different from somebody who holds a glass of water in their hands. And they've done a lot of experiments, right? So feeling generated, and what determines the frequency? What determines the frequency of electromagnetic fields? It is our thoughts and our emotions. We've covered that in a lot deeper sense earlier. And the state of energy creates matter. Feelings create energy fields, energy builds matter. And when we change our energy fields, the cells of our material bodies respond. So in fact, Dawson Church in his book, Mind to Matter, illustrates this through one fantastic story, fantastic case study. So there were a set of, they started tracking a bunch of women in the US. This was a study conducted in the US to ensure they kind of discover uterine cancer beforehand. So they tracked the energy fields of a bunch of women over many years, many sessions, and they started measuring the energy of the uterus to see if there are any changes in the energy field, right? And this was basically to see and detect if they can detect uterine cancer much earlier. So what they found is, for people who ultimately had uterine cancer, the energy field started showing signs of malfunctioning, right? Signs of disturbance much before the actual cells started showing up in the body. So what it means is there are disturbances in the energy field that happen first, and then that creates the matter, right? And then that creates malfunctioning cells that created, incorrectly functioning cells. So what it means is our feelings create energy. Energy fields and energy fields create matter. So what this allows us to do is, it allows us a fantastic opportunity for all of us to heal our bodies by just changing our thoughts and emotions. Right? So how do we do that? Yes, you can create disease and good health through just our thoughts and emotions. All of you must have heard about psychosomatic illnesses. Most of these, like diabetes, like blood pressure, hypertension, and our own anxiety, migraines, headaches, a lot of other diseases are pretty much through what they are called as psychosomatic illnesses. The psyche creates a soma. As you think, that is what happens in our body, right? How does it happen? We probably covered some of it. We talked about this in one of the sessions, 2 states of mind and body, right? We have a survival state, which is a fight or flight mode, and we have a creation state, which is our rest or digest mode. Our body and mind, body operates in 2 modes. Survival is fight or flight. So fight or flight mode is what causes stress, right? And then again, fight or flight has its ancient beginnings in early man. At that time, his response to danger, the danger at that time was seeing a lion, seeing a bear, or anything to do with lightning and thunder. At that time in the forest, the only response he had was fight from the place the moment he saw a predator, or flee from the place or fight it, right? And that is why the body got tuned to it. Anytime you see a danger, your muscles get tightened, your heartbeat gets faster, right? Your breathing gets faster. At that time, you'll not think about digestion or reproduction system, right? So they all kind of go silent, and body and energy, the energy gets diverted to all other activities that help you fight or flee. In the modern day, the same danger happens to be your daughter or son who's misbehaving. The same danger could be that boss who always doesn't have a good opinion about you, or it could be some colleague who always remarks about you, right? That is a danger. So anytime you get in the situation, it's the same thing happen. Your muscles contract, your heart beats faster, your breath goes faster, and your immune system doesn't have enough things to work on, right? Immune system, digestive system, everything gets compromised, and that causes disease. So this stress releases certain biochemicals into our body, which causes the incorrect functioning of these individual systems. And that is what, if you look at it, that you can call it aligned with the chakras, you can call it aligned with the glands, and everything is linked. And when do we activate our stress response? In fact, Yoga Sutra, the yogic science has this wonderful wisdom. It's not that all thoughts and emotions are bad. Thoughts are fine, thoughts are okay. It's not that you never should be thinking. But when your thoughts are colored with these 5 kleshas, right? These are also very related to our 5 basic emotions that we heard last week. So anytime your thoughts are colored with fear, your thoughts are colored with ignorance. Ignorance again comes out, fear comes from ignorance. Your thoughts are colored with ego. When you say ego, it kind of reinforces a sense of identity, right? Again, it comes out of fear. Or your thoughts are colored with extreme attachment. I want that particular situation. I want that particular thing. Or if your thoughts are colored or arise because of aversion. I dislike that person. I hate the person. Or I hate to be in hot weather. I hate to be in this particular place, in a situation, right? So anytime you dislike something or you like something, there's a craving, aversion, fear, ignorance, and ego. Anytime our thoughts are colored with this, that means you are activating your stress response. You are activating your lower chakras. That means we are in that lower energy fields. So if you look at this chart, we probably have seen this. So our creative emotions are all, and I think last time we saw that more of the soul's alignment is from the heart chakra. So positive emotions radiate high frequencies, negative emotions generate low frequencies, right? The survival emotions, doubt, fear, anger, security, insecurity, worry, anxiety, all of them activate your lower 3 chakras. And that is where your fear is stored. That is where your anger is stored, right? And the way to remove them is from focusing more on the positive emotions, right? Creative emotions like gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest emotions. That is why we keep saying, anytime we want to feel positive, just express thank you to whatever happened just a few minutes ago. It could be thank you to a coffee, thank you to someone who dropped you at some place, thank you to the weather. So immediately that thank you gets your emotion and energy up through your heart chakra, right? Inspiration, peace, wholeness, trust. These are all the qualities of the soul. So the whole idea is consciously, anytime we are creating, we want to kind of be conscious of not creating negative emotions and moving up to the positive emotions. So this is what happens in our creation mode. We talked about 2 modes, survival mode and creation mode. Creation mode is a healing mode. Our body heals itself, builds immune system, builds or enhances your digestive system, enhances your reproductive system, right? And improves your respiratory system. All that when your body is in this mode of relaxation response. This is also called rest and digest mode. First one is called fight and flight. This is rest and digest, right? And then this is when this happens when your brain waves patterns slow down to lower frequencies, which is what happens in sleep and meditation. If you have real good quality sleep, then you allow your body to be in this relaxation response, irrespective of whatever happened in the day, your body recovers, your body is in homeostasis, it builds your immune system, it builds all the healing chemicals, it releases all the healing chemicals and good chemicals. If not, practices like meditation, deep meditation, again, gets you into those very deep, slow brain states, which is theta, delta, which is where, again, relaxation response kicks in, right? And then the equivalent chemicals get released and you start feeling good, you start feeling joyful, you start feeling peaceful. So all that is because of the right hormones in your body. And Buddha and now recently a lot of scientists and of course Brahmarshi Patriji found this, brought this forth. So Buddha found it initially. Being with the breath makes you spend more time with your rest and digest system, allowing healing and growth. That is why we covered quite a few breathwork techniques, pranayama techniques in our session 3. Just by being conscious of your breath, it means you are not creating stress, you are not releasing stress hormones. You are conscious of your body is in a relaxation response mode. So my dear friends, so conscious creation through thoughts and emotions is basically every time you are mindful of negative emotions, it's about shifting your state consciously to a positive emotion. Using practices like breathwork and meditation, you allow mindfulness to expand, you allow your awareness to expand so that before you get that feeling of anger, we saw that emotion chain, right? Before you get the feeling of anger, you're able to catch it at the level of sensation and you're able to stop, react, not react, but respond, right? So you're able to shift your emotion from fear, anger, anxiety, frustration to a positive emotion. So that is a way of conscious creation. And being positive about our emotions automatically helps our body to heal. So the primary way of healing our body is through positive emotions, positive energies, high frequency energies, and that is the way to that is positive thoughts and emotions. Now going into the second way of conscious creation, this is where coherence plays a lot, is through intention. So through the first type of conscious creation, we allow our body to be healthy. Because we don't think stressful thoughts, we allow body to be healthy. Now, when we want to align ourselves to our purpose, when we want to do something, we want to be feeling positive about what we are doing, right? Again, here positive emotions play a role. So it's through intention. For example, an example of intention could be, I want to get a secure seat in that particular college or a university, or I want to be working at, let's say, Google or Microsoft or Amazon in the near future. Or it could be, I want to be visiting a particular place for vacation in the near future. It could be anything. That's an intention. That's a long-term intention. The near-term intention could be, I want to be positive, stay happy, stay healthy next few days, whatever, right? So conscious creation is, you need an active intention, a thought, and a coherent mind. This is where, again, the coherent mind comes in. What do we mean by coherent mind? Coherent mind is when your brain and heart are in coherence. We said brain is your hardware and your mind is your software. And we said brain is more aligned with the ego consciousness, the brain consciousness, and your soul consciousness comes through your feelings, and that is where your heart comes in, right? What do we mean by brain coherence? We did look at this chart, right? And I did explain that in that model when we talked about the neuroscience model of brain and mind. So brain coherence, as you know, our brain, there are different parts of the brain. There is a conscious part of the brain, which is a neocortex. There are different parts of a brain, one that takes care of our feeling, one that takes care of our hearing, one that takes care of our visual capabilities, one that takes care of our auditory capabilities, taste, smell, olfactory capabilities. Right, there are different parts of the brain, and then there is a limbic brain which takes care of our emotions. Right. So usually, what happens is energy does not flow across the entire brain uniformly. Usually, one part of the brain is pretty excited. For example, when you are very emotional, when you are angry, when you are fearful, when you are super, gloating with greed, when you're gloating with some achievement, then only the limbic brain, you're conscious of the limbic brain, that part is more active. There's more energy to that particular part, more blood flow to that particular part. And that is why when scientists connect sensors, your EEG sensors to the brain, they'll be able to track the pulses, energy waves from each part of the brain. The picture that you see here are those. They've connected this EEG electrodes to different parts of the brain, and each line is one part of the brain. If you look at the first picture, every part is firing at its own level, right? There are some parts that are really excited, some parts that are not the same, some parts are aligned. But on the right-hand side, all parts of the brain get the same flow of blood. Everything, all of them are vibrating in the same pattern, though they may be vibrating at different frequencies, right? So that is what is coherence. That is what is coherent brain. How do we get your brain into coherence? The important step to get your brain into coherence is deep concentration. And continuous attention on the breath, which we do in meditation, builds that concentration. So when you are completely focused, concentration or focus is the function of your neocortex here, your conscious brain here. So when you are completely focused without any distracting thoughts, right, that means your blood flow, your energy flow is all focused in the front part of your brain. And the front part of your brain, as we saw in that model of neuroscience, is the one that controls, is that executive, is that commander-in-chief of your brain. So now when all energy is here, all other parts of your brain listen to the commander-in-chief, right? That means everyone is falling in alignment with this part. That is how you get brain into coherence. So similarly, heart coherence, as I said, there is something called heart rate variability, which gets measured. There is a way to do a measurement. I'm sure all of you have heard about Heart Math Institute. That has published a lot of research and findings on heart rate variability. Right? So when you have increased alpha brain waves, when you have positive emotions like love, compassion, gratitude, right, then your heart rate variability follows a common pattern. You see the picture here. When you're angry, your heart rate variability goes. Heart rate variability is nothing but they measure the heart rate at different points of the time. And the idea is it needs to go, typically your heart rate is between 60 and 75 or 80, right? 80 beats per minute. Sorry, 80 beats per second, so time in seconds. So there is a pattern to it. For example, at some point it is 62 and 75, and then at some point after 20 seconds, it will again start with 62, 75. So that is what is meant by coherence. So if you look at it, people measured heart rate variability for two situations. One, when someone is angry, the anger heart rate variability is at the top of the chart, and then appreciation. When that person is appreciating or expressing gratitude, so that is emotion. So there is a different heart rate pattern, right? So the bottom one says that your heart is in coherence. That means it is aligned to the way your energy pattern is. And this varies for everybody. I mean, everyone will not have the same HRV, right? And then the idea is the better the HRV, the more adaptable you are, right? If your HRV is good, the heart rate variability is good, right? Then suddenly when you might feel angry, but you'll kind of recollect yourself back and then do not go with the flow of anger. You become a lot more aware of it and then correct your course. You see, that's where it's related to mindfulness. So you're able to adapt to any situation. You are able to be more resilient to something that happens that is something that you do not like, but you're able to take it or absorb it in the right mode, the right feeling. Absence of heart rate variability or absence of coherence means you suddenly burst out in anger, right? So that is where heart coherence matters. So a coherent mind is brain coherence plus heart coherence. Heart coherence is about feeling positive. Brain coherence is about concentration, right? Net attention plus awareness is what we talk about when you say coherence. And then there should be an active intention. What do we mean by active intention? So active intention is consistent thought. You should be able to have that, carry that thought. Okay, that is my purpose. That is what you must have heard a lot of people saying. You have to have a purpose. You have to have a goal about doing something. And that is where all your energies kind of get activated towards it, right? So you need to have a consistent thought and a feeling towards an outcome or action. Not just the thought is not enough. Taking the previous two things, heart coherence and brain coherence, into consideration, I should have a thought and I should have a feeling that particular situation occurs. And that is why you manifest, the science of manifestation, right? So the science of manifestation is two things. One is you need to think about a particular situation. That is something. And then you have to feel that as if that particular thing has occurred. For example, if you have a thought, or if you have an intention for you to travel to Europe during your vacation, right? So you should be able to start feeling as if you are in Europe, or you should be able to feel as if you went to Europe and came back and telling your friends, oh, here are the wonderful things that happened. You'll be able to feel happy that you are in Europe. You'll be able to feel happy that you are in front of Eiffel Tower, for example, right? So the thought combined with the feeling starts shifting your energy to be in coherence with that particular occurrence, and slowly your energy attracts, right? Your energy flows where attention goes. We know that law, right? So then slowly things will happen. And a lot of cases in Joe Dispenza's book, Dawson Church's book, Mind to Matter, where people have actually demonstrated this happening, right? They have an active intention, they have a feeling associated with it, and then ultimately it manifests magically. Somehow, a lot of things that come into it, right? So intention plus feeling, positive feeling. And then the most important thing here is trust, right? So you should never doubt that intention. You should never, the moment you start doubting, that means there is a lower frequency energy. So you have an intention, you're feeling that has happened, and you continue to be with that. That is what we call it as active thought, right? At any point of time, you start doubting, oh, will it work? Will that happen? Right? That means your coherence is disturbed. Then you are moving from your positive higher emotion to a lower emotion feeling. So people who have achieved a high level of coherence have been able to do extraordinary things. And then, as you say, when you set intentions, I can have an intention, but you have to have that intention from a clear, centered, high vibrational state, which means of gratitude, of thankfulness, of love, of peace, of trust, right? And then not doubting it, not from a platform of fear. Oh, I don't know whether it will happen. If it doesn't happen, what will I be, right? So you don't need to do that. So that is what we call as the doing that from a high vibrational state. So that is about intention. So we looked at two things. How do I manifest health and healing in my body through the proper thoughts and emotions? The second thing is, how do I use positive thoughts and emotions along with an active intention to create what I want, to manifest what I want, right? And these are the tools that we use to manifest your purpose, right? Manifest your meaning. When you are aligned to what your purpose is, when you're aligned to what your dharma is, as Bhagavad Gita says or Yoga Sutra says, there are a lot of things that happen because consciousness is universal, right? Consciousness starts helping you in terms of synchronicities. Consciousness starts helping you in terms of some actions, some thoughts, some sayings, some words, some insights. And that is what is intuition. You are able to listen to your intuition only when your mind is free of fear, free of anger, free of negative thoughts, free of limited beliefs, free of programmed beliefs, right? So that is when you are in that particular state of consciousness through practice like meditation and a lot of others that we discussed earlier, then slowly you start feeling intuitive, right? So what is intuition? Intuition is nothing but right thought at the right time. It doesn't have logic to it. You don't reason it. Anytime you start reasoning, it is logic. It comes from your conscious mind. It doesn't come from your intuition. That comes from your intellect, right? So intuition is more from your soul. Intuition is a voice of your soul. So intuition is knowing without knowing why or how. For example, suddenly you might be able to choose between two things, but intuitively you feel something good, something bad, and you go with something good, right? And then it works out well. And you might be doing something, and somewhere out of the blue, you get a thought that this is how you should do, or out of the, or you are conversing with something, suddenly you speak something, but you don't know where that came from. So knowing without knowing why or how, gut feeling, thinking with your heart, they're all the way we describe intuition, right? And how do we see that in action? Spontaneous responses. Suddenly you'll be talking, there'll be something that you uttered, it would have become very humorous and people will start laughing. All of us have gone through the situation, right? You wouldn't even have planned to have cracked a joke, but spontaneously it happened and people started laughing. And then you said, oh, wow, that is a good joke, right? Or it could be spontaneous answer. You wouldn't even know where that answer came from. Singing, I mean, obviously we keep storing a lot of things in our memory, right? Suddenly you have to sing a whole full song, given the right situation, right? So you don't know where that came from. Obviously it came from your memory, but the way it recollected was because of the reproducing a rehearsed memory is different, intuition is different, right? Some voice in your head telling you, for example, a lot of us who drive, when we drive to a new place, right? We are caught up between to turn left or right. Obviously now there are Google Map. Google Map will allow you to guide you, right? But earlier when you used to drive, you need to take a call, it is left or right. But intuitively you take a left or right, ultimately you land up at the place, and the person would tell you, oh my God, you reached this place even without calling me to find out how to come. The other place intuition is in action is when you are in flow, when we are in the zone. Any sporting activity, any time that you engage in arts, could be singing, could be dancing, could be knitting, could be painting, right? So, and then all type of sports activities. So that is when your emotional mind switches off, your conscious mind switches off, and you start doing things in the flow. That means you're connected with your soul's intelligence, you're connected with your intuition, and you allow the intuition to flow. You automatically start doing things, right? So that is what happens in sport. You must have seen a lot of basketball players, you must have seen a lot of soccer players, you must have seen a lot of cricket players in that zone. When they are in that zone, performance is flawless. That is what we call a zone of peak performance. And all of us can be there. Only thing is, we might have been in that particular zone without control occasionally before we get into this practice of meditation. But subsequent to getting into the practice of meditation, we probably have discovered a lot of times that we can get into flow very easily. The last thing is recognizing and using meaningful coincidences, right? So a lot of times it happens again. There's another outcome of decluttering your mind. You want to do a particular task, and then suddenly there is some help coming to you. Could be a phone call, could be a book that happens. You're kind of looking for some decision, whether to do this or whether to do that, whether to take that particular job or this job, whether to go to that university or this university. And suddenly something shows up, some person talks to you, some email comes up, some book, you see some book or news on TV or newspaper, or you speak to someone, and there is something in that particular conversation, that particular content that nudges you to one particular thing, right? And then a lot of times things happen before you even arrive at the scene. Things can go wrong, things can go right. When things go right, that means it aligned. There are a lot like meaningful coincidences. Things can also go wrong. They could also be meaningful coincidences. That is the soul's way of telling you that that is not the right path, right? Maybe it's a different thing. For example, you might not have a particular job. You might have been striving hard to get a particular job. You would have gone to an interview, but for whatever reason, you didn't get the job. You didn't get the seat, right? That means it's an indicator of, it's possibly, I mean, again, it depends on how aligned with ego consciousness you are with the soul consciousness. When you're aligned with soul consciousness, the way we take it is you accept it, right? And as they say, failures are stepping stones to success. So you feel that, okay, that is a way of your soul telling it that is not the right job. Even if you get that particular job, you may not be happy. You will not be fulfilled. Then maybe there is something else. So it's not always positive, right? Meaningful coincidences, synchronicities can be whether you get a seat or not a seat. You achieve something or not achieve something. Everything is part of the game, right? And again, in another book called One Mind, See, all these coincidences, synchronicities happen because the universe is doing something, right? When we talk about universe, then there is a universal mind. We talked about the universal consciousness. Soul is, there is an individual aspect of it and there's a universal aspect of it, right? When you're aligned with your individual soul consciousness, automatically the universal soul consciousness start helping you, right? In that book called One Mind, there are different examples. You must have heard very similar things as well. So there's an example where a person cancels a flight ticket because his friend was nudging him to cancel just because he didn't feel right that he needs to go by that particular flight. And coincidentally and unfortunately, that flight met with an accident. And this particular friend felt very happy or very thankful that he canceled the ticket and he didn't have to travel by that flight. That's a meaningful coincidence, right? And then similarly, a lot of us have heard things about our friends, from our friends about, oh my God, thank God I was not sitting on the left-hand side or sitting on the right-hand side of a car that met an accident, or I was supposed to go by that car or us, or I was supposed to overtake, but I didn't, right? So those are all things like meaningful coincidence. Again, it doesn't mean just accident. It could be anything, right? So those are all examples of intuition and action. How do we hone our intuition? So all of us keep getting these messages, but we can continue to, as we continue to do our consciousness practices, we start feeling more aware. Intuition happens even otherwise. Synchronicity happen even otherwise. The only thing is we are caught up in our ego consciousness. We are caught up in our mind. We fail to recognize these as aspects. So the first thing is clear the clutter, silence the mind. As Patanjali says, yogas chitta vritti nirodha, right? So just chitta, the vrittis of the chitta needs to be silenced, needs to be arrested. So clearing the clutter through practices like meditation, calming the mind. And then you start becoming more aware of feeling the sensation, feeling your body sensations. The body sensations will guide. As I said, right, feeling is the language of your soul. So you'll see whether it is the right feeling or a wrong feeling, whether you feel feeling tone, pleasant, unpleasant, right? And then obviously fear or urgency should, your soul's intuition doesn't work when you're in a state of fear or when you need to finish something. You cannot say, okay, I need to submit this by tomorrow. Now intuition come up, now intuition help me. It doesn't work on demand, right? It needs to come, it needs to have a state of relaxed awareness for soul to open up, right? Because anything that you're urgent, anything that you are aligned with matter is not the realm of soul. And the last thing is be open and willing to follow it. Trust, as I said, even in the second way of conscious creation, it's about trust. You need to trust your intuition. Either way, it goes right, yes, it is for my good. It goes wrong, it is also for my good. I often talk about this example at work. Obviously, after a lot of years of meditation, you start feeling this awareness, right? So at work, so you have my team. I have my team who kind of says, sign up a new client, they go sell a new customer, they get a new project. So we do the pricing, we do the planning, everything, and there is this negotiation that happens, right? The team sets up everything is fine. The client has agreed to the price, we can execute it, there are no risks, blah, blah, all that stuff, right? But when you start having that conversation with the customer, there are cases where I felt a sense of unease with that particular customer in that particular situation. I didn't know why, right? But there was a sense of feeling that things could go wrong. It's not a question of doubt, but there's a sense of feeling. Immediately I said no, so we are not doing this deal, right? And we call off the deal, and then all my colleagues used to be surprised. What? We worked so hard to do this. We were aligned with all this stuff, but suddenly you call it off with no reason. Obviously, I had the privilege of doing that at that time. I mean, if I was working for someone and I go tell my boss, don't do this deal, it's going to be harmful to the company, you wouldn't listen, right? Obviously, they'll expect rational reasons, right? So there were cases like this, and then ultimately it ended up a good decision to call up the deal because we saw competition. Either the company went through rough weather, they were not able to pay back the money at the right time, or the requirements were too. There are a lot of other clauses that came in that we were not able to see upfront. So feeling is very important, right? The key steps to honing your intuition is about clearing the mind clutter, listening to your feelings and following your feelings. Especially, you shouldn't be in that lower vibration state of fear and urgency. So as I said, how do you use your intuition? What are the benefits of exploiting your intuition? Number one, effective meetings. As I said, honest conversations. You don't need to go for a meeting prepared with A, B, C, D. If that particular person tells me this, here is my response. If that particular person tells me Y, here is my response. So you're a lot more spontaneous in a particular situation. That is what honest conversations. Correct decision making, as I just mentioned. Smart problem solving. So your mind is free from fear. Your mind is free from negative emotions, right? You're freeing up all that energy to work on that particular problem. When you're completely focused your conscious energy on something creative, automatically things happen. That's where meaningful coincidences happen. All right. So they say intuition is the GPS of the soul. As I said, feelings are magnetic. Feelings are the language of the soul, right? So every time you listen to your feeling without fear, without anger, with complete trust, and when your mind is uncluttered, that means it's your soul telling you, giving you directions, right? And meditation is a powerful tool for accessing your creativity, inner wisdom, and intuition. We talked about we are intelligent, right? You're aligning with your inner intelligence. Meditation is a fantastic key to access that. We'll talk more about it. And ultimately, we are all meant to thrive, not just survive, right? There are different classes of people. You must have heard, I think we have a slide somewhere there, right? So different classes of people who want to basically just survive. So there are people who just want to stand, and this is my life. I just want to go by whatever my life gives, right? So basically, this life happens to me. We talked about it. So we'll cover that in one slide on that. So net, coherence is nothing but alignment with your true self. Our energy and wisdom are aligned to our true consciousness. When we saw this qualities of consciousness in our first session, intelligence, we are innately intelligent. We have deep intelligence in us. We are freedom. We are perfection. We are collective. We are not separate. We are abundance. Intelligence and freedom is not limited. For example, a person has only so much, and it is not that someone has given one person excessive intelligence, other person is less intelligent. Everyone is intelligent. It depends on how they use it. Abundance, and then bliss or joy. And that is another property of soul. These are exactly the qualities of the soul, qualities of consciousness, qualities of God, whatever qualities of divinity in you. And the whole idea of coherence is being alignment with your true self. You are soul in a sense. And aligning yourself with your soul, aligning with your intelligence is what all these practices that we're talking about. And we use all these things. Why are we reading through? Why are we going through all these sessions on consciousness and coherence? The idea is for us to kind of move beyond, shift our life view. We saw this in the models of consciousness. We talked about 6 different views of life, and then this is an abridged version. It's about moving from a level of where thinking that life happens to me. Oh my God, life happens to me. This is how I am. I don't know why God has given me this disability or disabled situation or lack of things, lack of money, lack of power, whatever it is. Why am I feeling so frustrated? So moving from life happens to me, then you start moving into start gaining your control. Oh, someone said you can create your reality, right? Let me start doing it. Life happens by me. So there again, if you move towards the ego consciousness, you start saying that, oh, I only created this. That particular successful project or successful operation or successful thing happened because of my abilities, because I was involved in it. If I was not there, that couldn't have happened. So you think you have control over everything. Things happen because you make them happen. That is, the life happens by me. Then slowly, as you move from the bottom to ego and fear driven to trust and higher consciousness levels, then you start feeling life happens through me. We are here for a reason. I have a soul. Sorry, I am a soul. Soul has some desire. I have a purpose, right? Then life happens through me. I allow life to happen by silencing my mind, right? Silencing my mind is not forcefully by repressing it, by allowing it to give it what it wants. That is what we talked about, the ego's needs. And then over time, as we move along, then we start feeling one with everything. Life happens as me. There's no separation between you and the spirit. So these are 4 stages we evolve as we evolve our consciousness. And the last slide, again, a quick dive into, again, a lot of this, one of the consciousness models that we discovered. This is something where yogic science talks about it, and Maharishi Mahesh Yogi talks more about it as well. So the bottom 3 levels of consciousness at any point of time, we know that, right? We are either in the waking state of consciousness, dreaming state of consciousness, or sleeping state of consciousness. There are different states of consciousness, right? But your waking state is characterized by these other 4 higher levels of consciousness. Once we start getting into practices like meditation, once we start thinking about who am I, what am I doing here, what is my purpose, that is when we start getting into our soul consciousness. It's also called as transcendental consciousness. And that is when we start doing meditation, we feel that sense of consciousness, feel the sense of lightness, feel the sense of going beyond the mind. That is where soul consciousness starts off. And as we add more wisdom to it, energy, wisdom, as we start attending more sessions like this, then we think, okay, fear, why do we fear things? We understand the reason. The reason we fear, the reason we are angry at things is because, like last class, because my ego's needs have not met. The ego's needs for survival, security, and safety have not met. Ego's need for recognition is not met. Ego's need for acceptance is not met. Right? How do I do it? When do they don't get met? That is, they don't get met because I repress my emotions. I don't express myself. Once you start expressing yourself, expressing your talent, once you start feeling confident, once we start feeling accepted, then your energy levels start going up. That is what is cosmic. When you're starting to do that, you are in that level of cosmic consciousness. And then when you start manifesting things, when you start connecting with other, you see other as a part of you, or others are connected to you. When you start loving things, when you start becoming one with everything, right? When you start, your intuition start flowing, then that is your state of God consciousness. And then once you are beyond all this, once you are beyond duality of ego and soul, once you are beyond the duality of right and wrong, like and dislike, love and fear, once you reach the state of equanimity, right? It happens, it is okay. It doesn't happen, it is okay, right? We talked about acceptance is a category of soul consciousness. So once we are one with all, once we're equanimous to everything, because everything is happening for a reason, everything is energy. And I, for some reason, created it. So once you start accepting, then we are in unity with whatever is happening. It's not just unity with everything, every person. It's unity with everything, unity with every thought, unity with every emotion, right? That is where unity consciousness happens. And all these happen through our meditative exercise, meditative practices, right? I mean, for people who have been, I've experienced each of these, but people who have been doing meditation for a long time, they go through each of these phases. In the beginning, it's only for shorter time, and over time, it becomes longer and longer. All right. So with that, we will dive into meditation just to recollect what we have. But before that, okay, so I think we'll probably do the announcements a bit later. So today's meditation, okay, so I think it keeps moving. All right. So today we're going to do a bit of a longer meditation before I get into the announcements as well. So here's what we're going to do, right? We're going to do the entire Buddha's breathfulness practice. We're going to start off with, like we started earlier, we're going to start off with some coherent breathing that allows your mind to settle. That is the relaxation part. What is coherent breathing? As we said, some of you who have been with us for all the 6 classes, it's slow, long, easy inhale and exhale. Not fast, not that. So it's basically a slow inhale and long exhale. Only thing is you continue your inhale for a long time, you exhale for a long time. The ultimate level of coherent breathing is if you're able to breathe in for 5 to 6 seconds, breathe out for 5 to 6 seconds. Initially, you'll not be there, but you'll get there. So that allows your body to relax completely. You can use that coherent breathing technique anytime, before a session, before a important meeting, right? Before an important sport, before an important exam, you can do that. That relaxes your body, it gets your body into homeostasis. And then we go through the Anapanasati meditation process. I'll guide you through it. The first 10 minutes, I'll allow you to follow your breath, follow your breathing through your heart, right? So you follow your inhale, follow your breath as you go into your throat region. You feel the sensations here, you feel the sensations in your heart, you feel some sensation in the stomach. And then the next 10 minutes, I will ask you to focus your breath at one point. So place your attention at one point, right below your nose or around your nose, wherever you are feeling the sensation of your breathing in and breathing out. Complete attention at only that one particular point. In the last 10 minutes, I'll ask you to focus on your sensations throughout your body, right? So as I said, there is energy flowing throughout your body. The only thing we're not aware of it. And any feeling, any emotion that we have shows up as sensations in different parts of the body. So you'll start feeling it just flowing. You're flowing with your breath. It's like breathing with your entire body. And then we will end with 2 to 3 minutes of gratitude session. All right. So we'll play some music as we get into meditation. And for those of you who are new, here is your procedure. So clasp your hands, cross your, first get into a posture sitting straight with your back straight, with your neck straight, your head straight. Relax, remove your spectacles, clasp your hands, cross your legs at your ankle if you're sitting on a chair, closing your eyes. And slowly bring your attention to your breath and observe your breath as you inhale and exhale. That is all you need to do. As I guide you to different processes, do not let go of your inhale and exhale. You will get thoughts, you will get other distractions, other sounds, whatever be it, just bring your attention back to your breath. Do not get distracted by my instructions or the music. The music may be less for some time. Please adjust. Please take the first few seconds to adjust the volume because I'm playing it at a high volume from my computer. You can adjust it accordingly. And then continue to follow your breath for the next 40 minutes. We'll do this meditation for 40 minutes. All right, my dear friends, relax, get into a posture. Keep your back straight in a natural, with a natural curve in your back. No stiffness in your back, no stiffness in your neck or head. Relaxed shoulders, relaxed feet. Relax your fingers, do not hold it tight. Rest it on your lap. Close your eyes. Slowly become conscious of your inhale and exhale. So breathe in to the count of 4 or 5. Breathe out to the count of 4 or 5. Do not hold your breath. Do not do deep breathing like just your normal, natural breathing. Research shows when you're able to breathe coherently, even during your normal times, that is a state of optimal peak health. So that means you're breathing only for 5 or 6 times, 5 or 6 breaths per minute. Usually it will be a lot more, 10 to 12. So breathe in, my dear friends, as you inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Continue to do this is called equal breathing. Have some counts just for your measure, but don't worry if you're not able to inhale long or exhale long. With practice, you will get that. Long inhale, long exhale. We're just going to be with our breath next 35 minutes. Nothing else to do, no other thoughts to entertain. Full breathing before a meditation session allows you to relax your body and mind, resulting in lesser thoughts and distractions during a meditation. Conscious breathing also activates your relaxation response. Makes your heart, brain, and mind slower and calm. Continue to breathe long, inhale, long exhale for 1 more minute. Now, my dear friends, let's slowly get into the following part of meditation. Slowly relax in your slow breathing, to your normal, natural breathing. Follow your breath. Trace the path of your breath. The moment you inhale, the moment you exhale. It is a continuous cycle. Follow your breath through your nose, region, your lungs or chest region, movements in your stomach. Follow it back as you exhale. For time, you'll be able to notice a small gap between your inhale and exhale. Don't worry about it now. Follow your beautiful breath cycle. Observe every step of your breath cycle. Become aware of your complete breath flow. Your breath is the only instrument to move you into higher levels of consciousness. Your breath is your guru. To understand your breath, to study your breath completely. First step for the study is observation. So, and be conscious of your entire cycle of your breath. Do not encourage any thoughts. Thoughts are okay. Once you recognize that you're thinking, bring your attention back to your breath cycle. Follow your breath. This step of following your breath makes you fully aware of your own breath. Do not analyze the breath, just observe. be in an absolute state of relaxation. Now, in that relaxed state, with your complete awareness of your breath, slowly bring your attention to one point on your upper lip, just below your nose, or at the entrance of your nostril. Your attention there as you continue to breathe in and breathe out. Feel any sensations happening there. Be aware of the breath going inside your nose as you inhale, coming out as you exhale. All your attention is only at that one point. This is a step of focusing. Allows you to build attention and avoid thoughts. Stay relaxed, stay calm. Feel the energy flow, feel the sensations at one point. Feel inside your nose, around your nose, entrance of your nose, on your upper lip. Do not feel any sensation, that is okay, but place your attention on the point. As I said, when we develop attention at one point, all energy and blood flow happens to the prefrontal cortex of the brain. So slowly start silencing the other parts of the brain. This step is also called the step of access concentration. And in Buddhist circles, and in Yoga Sutra, this is the dharana. No strain, just relaxed, focus on that point below your nose, around your nose. Your attention wavers, bring it back to that point. Continue to be aware of your inhale and exhale. Continue to be with a relaxed focus at that point, my dear friends. 5 more minutes of focusing. Do not tighten your forehead, your eyebrows, keep it relaxed. No thoughts, no analysis. Just keep that particular point in your mind, focus your attention on that point. Breathe in and breathe out naturally. Continue to be focused on the point of attention, which is at the entrance to your nostrils or inside your nose or on your upper lip. 2 more minutes of focusing. Be with your normal breathing. All right, my dear friends. Now slowly relax your attention at the focus point. Let's move into the step of flowing with your breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, start observing any sensations, any energy flows in different parts of your body. You can start observing from your head to toe. Start observing across your arms. Feel the energy flows, feel the sensations that happen across your body. The energy flows do happen, but you may be aware of it at the beginning, only at some points. Even if you're not aware, that is okay, but become aware of your body. Scan your attention or scan the body with your attention. This step called flowing with your breath allows you to experience the freedom and joy of being energy. It helps you become more aware of your sensations before it becomes a feeling tone, and then an emotion, and then a feeling. Closely observe different parts of your body, but just direct your attention wherever you are feeling pain. The feeling could be a tingling sensation. Feeling could be just the sensation of air brushing against your skin, or even your clothing sitting on your skin. Keep your body relaxed and observe the flow of sensations throughout your body. Continue to be with your breath. As you are with your breath, be with your body as well. As you continue this practice over several days, you start feeling the sensations of the energy flow throughout your body. It gives you a sense of joy, sense of bliss, sense of freedom. Sense of lightness. Which in turn calms the mind. Avoids thoughts. Enjoy the flow of energy. Enjoy the whole body breathing. 2 more minutes. Now, my dear friends, slowly bring your attention to your heart region, your chest region, and bring up the emotion of thankfulness. Bring the emotion of gratitude. As you breathe in and breathe out normally, place your attention on the chest region. Let's move into the gratitude part, the last step. Think about 3 things that you feel grateful for. Think about 3 things or situations or person since yesterday, in the last 24 hours. Bring that person or situation into your mind and say thank you with the full feeling of gratitude in your heart. Gratitude is one of the highest energy of emotion. Now, feel grateful for all the people and things that made you attend these sessions. Learn the wisdom and experience the techniques during this class and all the classes that you attended in the past. Feel grateful to yourself for the 2 hours you spent every Saturday. Say thank you in your mind to all the masters who's brought us this wisdom. That helps us progress in our evolution. Lastly, express deep gratitude to the universe for all the wonderful things that life has to offer and for being part of the game of life this moment. Slowly bring your awareness to your sitting. Relax your shoulders. Relax your fingers. Become conscious of the room you are in. And slowly unclasp your fingers. Place them on your eyes for a few seconds. And open your eyes when you are ready. Wonderful, my dear friends. So that's our breathfulness practice. The way we learn to become more mindful and more aware of our breath during meditation. The more we practice, we become more mindful during our day when we are out of the meditation. That's the science behind it. So my dear friends, thank you very much for being with us in this journey, or for having us and me part of your journey the last 6 weeks. For those of you who are not able to attend some of the sessions, please feel free to visit the YouTube of Pyramid Valley. Go to YouTube, type Pyramid Valley International with the coherence word or living in coherence. Beside that, you'll be able to see the playlist of this, and we'll also share the playlist with the email and in the Telegram group. Before I open it up for questions, I just want to make a few announcements on what is happening with us in Pyramid Valley. Some of you probably know Pyramid Valley. So Pyramid Valley is a 30-acre campus, which we call it as the International Meditation Retreat, south of Bangalore city. And it houses one of the first largest mega pyramid, measuring 160 feet by 160 feet, built solely for the purpose of meditation. And we are all part of the team. I am the managing trustee of Pyramid Valley, and the entire team does voluntary service. I took a break from my corporate career and doing the service here for the last 2 years, doing these sessions, managing the place. So I just want to take you through the Pyramid Valley website. pyramidvalley.org has a lot of information on this. You can also look at all the events that are happening. You can join live. So the upcoming events are Buddha Purnima. We'll talk about it in a minute. There is a 3-day Dhyanotsavam in Malayalam language, 3-day residential program. And we have a 7-day residential program called Stillness Retreat, happening for the first time in Hindi in June, from June 18th to 25th. This is a 7-day residential program with 4 to 5 days of silence, no phones, no contact with the outside world, 4 to 5 days of silence, 7 to 8 hours of meditation inside the pyramid, inside the hall, as well as in nature. We do all that, and this has been happening for the last 1 year. Every month we do it in different language, and this is the first time we're doing it in Hindi. It will be led by Sri Brahmarshi Srikant Kulkarni, sir, from Mumbai. So you can look up the program details there and register or pass the information to others. And as you know, Pyramid Valley is more driven completely by donations. So we always look for people with generous minds. Again, giving is part of our soul journey. Giving and sharing is essentially a part of our soul dharma. So sharing time in terms of volunteering, or sharing money in terms of donating, or helping the cause of Pyramid Valley is spreading the word amongst 10 of your friends or family on the programs, on the place that we have, is important. And we always seek donations from well-wishers and meditators like you. So there is a page called pyramidvalley.org/donate. You can go there, and then there are different projects that we do. So there is this Nitya Annadana, where we provide free meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for anyone visiting Pyramid Valley, as well as people staying here in Pyramid Valley. So we have a lot of rooms. We have close to 80 odd rooms where people stay and do their sadhana. They completely do meditation and service here. So please feel free to donate to help feeding more number of people. We also are always constantly improving our facilities, like adding UPS for the rooms, helping construct more rooms, helping clean up some of the facilities, replacing some of the boilers for hot water and things like that. So you can donate for the maintenance of the facility. And recently we started this project called Goshala. We are building up a Goshala. It's called Nandanvan Goshala. So again, there's another opportunity for a lot of you who want to do Go Seva. So you can go to that click to donate page and donate for the construction of the Goshala, which should be done by our Buddha Purnima in another 15 days to kind of get and maintain the Gomatas or cows. And the idea is kind of all these enhance and add the energies of the Pyramid Valley. And lastly, we are having this mega event called Buddha Purnima celebration. We also call it as Karnataka Dhyana Mahayagna on the May 14th, 15th, and 16th. This is our annual event. We expect around 4,000 plus people attending this 3-day event on every day. So the event schedule is published on the pyramidvalley.org/KDMY, Karnataka Dhyana Mahayagna. So the event comprises of every day morning 5 to 8 a.m. music meditation message by Brahmarshi Patriji. Patriji, all happens in the divine presence of Brahmarshi Patriji. 10 to 4 p.m. there are going to be different wisdom sharing sessions by different people in multiple languages, English, Hindi, Kannada, and Telugu, in different parts and at different conference halls that we have. Evening, we have a gala program, 5 to 6 p.m. is a musical concert, and we have 1 hour of music meditation by renowned, accomplished musicians. and we have lined up guest of honors. So we have 1 hour of messages from guest of honors. This time we have an illustrious list of guest of honors, including former Chief Minister of Karnataka, Shri Yediyurappa ji, current Home Minister of Karnataka, Agya Jnanendra ji. We have our Mantralaya Swami ji. We have the Siddhaganga Mat Swami ji visiting us on one of the days. And we have a couple of other public figures. We have Dr. H.R. Nagendra, from the Chancellor and founder of Vyasa University, the Vivekananda Yoga Anusandhan Academy. So they're all coming and delivering their messages in the guest of honor. 8 to 9 is a cultural programs. So it's going to be mega event. And then as always on Buddha Purnima Day, which is May 16th, we'll have a 3-hour Akhanda Dhyan, 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. So all the events are happening in the open amphitheater in front of the pyramid that we have. So for this, again, this is a free event. We are building up accommodation for 2,500 people. There are some rooms available. So you can look up the details of all the accommodation when you go to the book accommodation page for people who are interested to come here and join us. For others who are not able to join in person, our humble request is for you to contribute to this event, because hosting so many people, feeding so many people with free meals, preparing accommodation for this mega event, and getting the artists out here and doing the stage work involves a lot of expenditure. And all those expenses are to be funded by well-wishers and people like you. So please feel free to go to the donations page and donate generously for the event. So you have multiple opportunities for you to donate for the event with the Purnima, which is on KDMY page, or you can go to the donate page and donate for any of the projects that we have, which we are running in Pyramid Valley, or you can spread the word about Pyramid Valley programs and projects to your friends, have them join subsequent programs, subsequent workshops. And of course, you can always volunteer your time in Pyramid Valley doing Seva. We have different volunteering opportunities. Again, you'll find information on that on the website as well. So with that, my dear friends, it was great to be working with you, sharing my wisdom to each one of you. The last 6 weeks. And as I said, all the 6 sessions are available on YouTube. Now, please feel free to go there and share the sessions to anyone that you feel who need this wisdom, who need these practices. So with that, we'll open up for a few minutes of questions. I know we are at 7 p.m., but if you have your hand raised, we'll call you out for questions, or you can type your questions on the chat window. I see a lot of gratitude messages coming in. I would say the big way of expressing gratitude to Pyramid Valley and Brahmarshi Patriji and the movement is to go click on one of those donate buttons, because that is the need of the hour for Pyramid Valley and for the thousands of meditators who will come in to Pyramid Valley, either during the events or outside of the events. Okay, so let me unmute one second. All right, we have Swati, madam. Can you unmute yourself and ask a question, madam? Swati, can you unmute yourself and ask a question? You raised your hand.
Yes. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Sir, can I speak in Hindi?
Yes, ma'am.
सर आप जो मेडिटेशन पार्ट था आज का, सर प्लीज वो क्लिप आप टेलीग्राम ग्रुप में भेज सकते हैं, ताकि मैं अपनी फैमिली और फ्रेंड्स को वही मेडिटेशन पार्ट भेज दूं, क्योंकि वो सब पूछते हैं कि कैसे करना है। अगर मैं उन्हें म्यूजिक वाला भेजती तो वो बोलते कि बहुत बोरिंग है। तो सर आई वांट दिस वन, दिस गाइडेड मेडिटेशन बाय यू, इट्स वंडरफुल सर।
ठीक है मैम, विल पोस्ट अ लिंक, हम उधर एक लिंक डालेंगे, यूट्यूब का लिंक, उससे आप यूज कर सकते हो।
सर वो लिंक देने से सर वो जो ऑडियो, वो जो विजडम पार्ट है वो सब वो सुनने के लिए इतना रेडी नहीं है। दे वांट ओनली मेडिटेशन।
फॉरवर्ड करके सुनिए मैडम, हम देखते हैं
सर।
अगर मेडिटेशन पार्ट अलग से कर सकते हैं तो करके लिंक डालेंगे, नहीं तो थोड़ा फॉरवर्ड करके देखिए प्लीज।
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
Yeah, Madam Gauri, can you please unmute?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, madam, please go ahead.
Yeah, so about the intuition, right? So I always have negative intuitions. Like if I follow my intuitions, I will never step out of my house as well. So how do we identify as to what intuition we need to follow and what not?
Intuitions are usually not negative, man. So maybe you're confusing it with what your mind is telling you.
Like
I'll give an
suppose if I
example.
plan to go somewhere, right, in a car, so I visualize as well as I feel, okay, I should not be going, something wrong might happen. So
Yeah, so that is based off your fear, right? Fear comes from your ego, not from your soul. So that is due to your, that is not an intuition. That's your feeling. That's your fear telling you don't do this, don't do that, right? So you will have to get beyond the fear. That's what the first step is, decluttering your mind, right? That removing that emotion of fear is very important. Only then intuition will surface.
okay. So when is the next stillness retreat conducted by you? I've been waiting for March, but I think it's
Yeah, it'll probably be in June or July, madam. Not depending on my schedule, I'll have to arrange it. We are doing the Hindi version in June. We might
yeah.
do the English version later in June or in July or first part of June. Still not. We'll announce it in the next 1 week.
Yeah,
Can
is
check
it
back.
possible to have a one-on-one conversation with you, sir?
Yeah, sure, madam. You can just drop me an email or you can fix it up. Or send me, you're on Telegram, right?
Yeah, I had actually messaged you some days back about the stillness retreat.
Okay, so I've not seen it. So you can just, yeah, you just message me and then we can connect.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. You have Mangal Then.
Yes, good evening, sir. I am Dr. Mangal Hemant Then, Professor of Engineering College in Pune. I liked your all sessions, contents and programs. I have attended Shreyan's sir's, Pradeep Vijay sir's, and now attending Pari madam's also. What I want to do, design a tailor-made program for engineering college teachers, especially in India. Actually, I am conducting various programs, my meditation sessions also, manifesting sessions also. But what I'm thinking, if you could collaborate, then I can reach up to maximum engineering college teachers. And because your contents are very specific, scientifically, technological, so that way, is it possible to collaborate and design one's tailor-made program?
Yes, madam, perfectly possible. We can do that. So usually we have the content ready, so you can use the content. So what we can do is after May 16th or 17th, if you can get in touch with one of us. Then,
I'm coming to Bangalore because I talk with Patriji sir also. I want to construct one pyramid in my center. I have one spiritual retreat center and I have NGO also. Already I have started this work. So I'm coming to Bangalore in May. So at that time, can I meet you?
Yes, yes, madam. Just let me know when you'll be here and we can
You can
definitely
just give me your mail ID and contact number also. So I will personally meet you and just have this dialogue in detail.
Yes, anytime you come to Valley, you ask anybody, any of the staff or reception that you want to connect to me, they'll connect.
Okay, okay. By that time, can I send mail to you, detail what is in my mind?
Yes, madam. Sai Sagar at pyramidvalley.org.
Okay, okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, my dear friends, I don't see any questions on the chat window. Wonderful. So thank you very much, friends. I know a few of you attended each one of our sessions the last 6 weeks. I know it is a stretch, but thanks for your support. Your attendance keeps us going as well. So thank you very much for that. I'm grateful for all of you attending the sessions, and hopefully this wisdom is helping you in your evolution, in your transformation, and probably all your family members and your friends as well. So with that, I will connect with you in another program very soon, or we'll see you in Pyramid Valley over the next couple of weeks. So thank you very much, my dear friends. Have a wonderful weekend and enjoy.